Today's episode is brought to you by Fire Facilities. Make training count with their custom-made, all-steel live fire training facilities. Their made-in-the-USA towers and burn rooms are the best for preparing, responding, and surviving the challenges you face every day. Today's guest is Mike Wallingford. So Mike Wallingford is a friend of mine. You may remember him a couple of years ago on the show, and he is very close to retirement. So we thought it'd be a good idea to discuss two different departments and how their retirement works, what retirement expectations are versus what really happens after retirement, and basically just the differences within the different states and how retirement affects us in our future as well. So please sit back and enjoy me and Mike Wallingford talking about getting paid for doing nothing. So you're at work at your other job, eh?
Flynn Brothers today.
Flynn Brothers. So for those listening, you already know my buddy Mike Wallingford's back on here. And I say buddy in every sense of the word. We live near each other, our wives, and we go out and we'll play trivia and lose and just hang out in general. But it turns out I beat Mike in retirement, and he brought up a good point. He's getting ready to retire. So we thought it'd be a good idea to let brothers and sisters know about retirement, specifically from his end, what to expect. And from my end, I win, and I don't have to work at that department anymore. Brother Mike, good to see you.
Hello, Jake. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. Long time no see, man. It's been a couple weeks.
I know it has been. Had to postpone. Summer gets in the way. Trivia sometimes on those wonderful Wednesday nights.
Yes, and we've been, or I've been out of town a ton, and then tonight my lovely bride is taking me to see Daniel Tosh for an early Father's Day gift. So
it's going to be nice. I'm going to work the concession stand at my daughter's school.
I win again.
Absolutely. But we are leaving Sunday for Jamaica for a week, so it's the wife and I and two other couples. So kind of looking forward to that.
Oh, kinda. Thanks for the invite. I'll go check my email, by the way. Maybe I missed it. I don't know.
Check the junk. It's probably
yeah. So let me ask you this. Tell us, when do you get to retire? When is your last day of working?
My last day in the firehouse is July 29th.
July 29th. Okay.
Between now and then, I only have 9 more shift days in the firehouse, just because of vacation time and stuff like that. And so it's eerily getting close, and it's a whole lot of feelings.
I bet. So let me ask you this: are you getting to the point where you're coming in late, drunk, with pistols all over you, or are you still trying to be respectful of your brothers and sisters you work with?
No, that's actually how it all started. In the early years, we kind of did that stuff, and it was a bit more acceptable than it is in today's times. But no, I'll be honest, man. Yesterday, I was on shift yesterday, and we had a great day. We got some good training in. We kept going, because the one thing that I promised the guys was, I said, I know I'm about to ride off into the sunset, but there's one thing I'm not going to do is to give up on you guys. So
that's nice.
You want to. I'm lucky. I absolutely love my job. I wake up every third day. I look forward to going to work, and I've got an amazing crew. Sorry, I know it's sorry it's starting to come back, but I have an amazing crew. They make it fun. We have a great time together. So that's what's making it a bit more of a emotional roller coaster.
I could see that making a huge difference. I don't know that I had that kind of feeling, but so let's talk about it. You're going to go to work, your last day. Now, do you do anything special? Does your department do anything for you when you retire?
Yeah, so they're going to have a luncheon that day, and it's open to anybody and everybody, and they'll have that on the 29th on my final shift. And I expect for some people to come by, but I mean, if it's just attended by my guys too, I'm okay with that as well. It is what it is. I'll see a lot of those people throughout time, because although I'm stepping away from the fire department, I do plan to stay involved. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to continue teaching classes and doing things of that nature. Just not riding the rig, which is really going to be something different because for the past 29 years, it's something I've been able to enjoy. So that's probably one of the, I guess I think that's one of the hardest pills to swallow is that excitement. Still having that.
Yeah, I mean, being part of the fire service, I remember when I retired, I forget which one of my kids said it, but they were saying something to one of their friends in front of me like, oh, yeah, he's retiring from the fire service. And I'm like, no. I'm retiring from my fire department. I love the fire service. And like you, I like teaching and being part of it. And I'm very lucky to be the training coordinator in District 9 here in Indiana. So I still have my toe in the pool of the fire service, try to stay busy. And I love it. I love it, man. I love it. I recommend, here's my number one recommendation for people that are thinking about retirement. Retire as early as you can. Don't worry about the money. Don't chase another 0.5%. Retire when you're young, when you can enjoy yourself, because I've seen people retire at 65 and they get a couple good years in them and then it's downhill. So that's always my advice.
I'm lucky. I'm 46. I'll be 47 this year. So I feel like I'm getting out at a wonderful time. It's going to allow me more time for a secondary career passion I have, and that's in safety here at Flynn Brothers Construction construction. And it's I enjoy coming here too. So being able to focus on one career after a really long time of having more than one is something I'm looking forward to. A little more family time is something I'm looking forward to. So yeah, there are a ton of things that make me want to stay. There are also plenty of things that have influenced and are letting me know that it's okay to step away.
So do you get to draw on your pension right away or do you get to wait?
Yes, I will. My last day, July 29th. My official retirement date is August 1st, and I become Check of the Month Club after that. So starting on August 14th, I get my first check.
So tell us about Kentucky. How does Kentucky work when it comes to a pension? I will tell you, when I was in Lexington, it was your 3 highest years, and you had to do 20 unless you bought time. But I cannot remember the specific age, if there was one, to retire. So what about you?
And all of that has changed. So we now have a tiered system. So I'm part of the Tier 1 system, which was the original system that you're thinking of, the high 3 a year averages. You used to be able to wait till your final 3 years and say, go get hired at another fire department full-time in addition to your primary, and you would really boost what your pension looked like. But now they have what they call spiking. So anything more than a 10% raise in your previous year causes a spike, and you don't get that benefit of anything over the 10% that you work. So if you decided to wait till your final 3 years to work a ton of overtime, you wouldn't get the benefit that you would have, say, 5 or 10 years ago. But with the tiered system, I'm part of that 20 and out system. Then it went to a Tier 2, which was 25 and out, similar. And then now it's more of a hybrid program that even I haven't done enough research on because it really didn't affect me. As far as, so it's now not just a pension, but there's a 401k mix type thing in there. So to be honest, the retirement system in the state of Kentucky is not nearly as sexy as it used to be, which is still a great career, and you're still working towards a retirement. It's just not as defined as, say, it was, of course, for the Tier 1 ones.
What about your benefits? What do you get to carry over?
So your insurance benefit used to be we have Tier 1 and we have Tier 1A. So Tier 1, you got your medical for life. Tier 1A, you get $20 for every service year that you're in. And so, you would get, it was like, for 20 years, you're going to get $420, somewhere around in that, because it's a little over $20, towards a pension or towards insurance. You can choose the states, which for a family is about $1,700 a month.
Mhm.
So you would get, about $400 and something dollars put towards that, or you could choose something from outside, which I am doing here with my current employer, and I would just use my 420 or whatever the stipend ends up being towards covering the rest of the cost for that.
Wow, that didn't sound like fantastic, retirement benefits, to be honest with you.
Well, no, like I said, the tier one guys were where it was at. The problem is, throughout the state of Kentucky, they've been robbing Peter to pay Paul, and the problem of it is Peter's never gotten his money back, and they're starting to fund it a lot better. So that's the reason why there's been so many changes over the years. But I'll be honest, a lot like politics, I try not to get too involved in it. I try to stay in my lane as to what's going to affect me, but then encourage my guys that worked under me to always look what's going to affect you. Don't get broad on it, because then you get yourself wrapped up into a lot of what ifs or, things like that. But yeah, it's something to look forward to. But then there's also that, the unknown.
Okay, let's talk about the unknown, because there's a huge vacuum that will be created that I wasn't prepared for. So tell me about what are you thinking about once you retire? What do you think is going to fill that void? And I'm not just saying work, because it's a mental shift as well. So how do you see it working? I mean, are you going to have days off where you just don't go to work? You just stay in the pool drunk on, margaritas?
So my work schedule will transition to a Monday through Friday.
Oh,
yeah. No, you think about it. I've been on shift work for all these years, and in addition to shift work, I worked another job. So there really wasn't. On average, I had about one day off a week. Because we worked the 24/48. So every third week, I would get a Saturday and Sunday off. But under most circumstances, I would either get a Saturday or a Sunday, but not both. So my schedule changing, I'm now going to be home every night and off every weekend. So that's a huge benefit.
Yeah.
But let's face it, what is a change within a relationship? Because let's face it, Firewives, I know a lot of them that will attest to this, but that every third day is sometimes nice.
Yeah.
They like having their own little alone time.
Yes.
I think my 9-year-old daughter's taking it the hardest, because now she doesn't get to sleep with mom every third day. She's got to stay in her bed every night. So she's as excited as she is to have dad home a little bit more. She's kind of bummed about losing out on her sleepover. But I think one of the biggest unknowns is the difference in financial. Just because you go from getting that check every 2 weeks to getting that check once a month, that check once a month is going to look much different than what checks every other week did. You're going to see some difference. There's going to be certain things that aren't coming out anymore, which is going to, kind of increase. But I encourage everybody. We went and sat down with a financial planner, financial advisor. We looked at every one of my opportunities when it comes to choosing how I wanted my pension payout to be, because in the state, I've got a ton of different, about probably 12 or 14 options that I can choose. So they just reinstituted a lump sum payout in the state of Kentucky for anything from 12 months up to 60 months up front. They would give you a
program,
pretty much.
Yeah.
But, like I'll choose it, and then when I retire, they'll give me this huge lump sum that I am just going to roll over into an IRA, so that I don't take the tax hit. But then it lowers your monthly, sum. It does affect your monthly, so sat down with a financial advisor, said, here's all of the options. Here's what the numbers look like, all of those things. And then their team put together a really good plan. And it says I'll have enough money until I'm 90. So and that's with current spending habits. And I've got one daughter in college and going in Catholic, private school. So those will eventually drop off.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I wasn't planning on retiring. I was going to do the drop, which again, I'm so happy I did. And I was worried that I'd have to work full time because I was about 3 years away from my plan, basically, which would have given me a large sum of money to drop and pay off all my bills. And I got fortunate that I remembered, I'm like, wait a minute, I've got a 457. I can cash that in and pay off all my bills. So it worked out very well that I was able to do that. Things lined up very positive for me, but I wasn't prepared for the mental aspect. You'd mentioned earlier about your daughter not getting to sleep in her mom's bed every 3 days. When you retire, it's not just you. It's your kid, it's your spouse, it's everybody. And it sounds like an easy thing, like, oh, well, I'll just be around. Well, when you're a firefighter, your better half and your children have a way to make their life work without you, right?
Yeah.
And then they got to change again, and it's kind of weird. For me and my lovely bride, I'm in the basement. This is where 3 Point Studios is, and her office, because she works from home, is on the second floor. So she always says, 3 stories is the secret recipe for a good marriage. Yeah. So we've been married, almost 20 years. So I think she's pretty close to being right. And at least she'll never hear me. She'll never listen to this podcast. I don't think she's right all the time. But
to the flip side of what you said about, they get so used to doing things without you. When you think back to your career, and I know I think back to mine, and I promise you, anybody that listens to this can honestly relate. When you think about anything that has ever happened bad within your household, it was when you were at the firehouse.
Yes.
So that kind of goes to the side.
Yeah.
You're home more, so you won't feel as helpless as some of us had at times when your spouse calls you and they're up here and they're expecting for you to fix an issue that you can't get to. And over the years, my wife's done a phenomenal job of handling stuff. She's just, she's pretty badass. And it's funny how sometimes you don't realize that until later in your relationships. But she's tough. She's managed a bunch of stuff when I had to be away. Right. So I'm looking forward to being able to helping out more with our 9-year-old. Because as I said before, our girls are spaced out. I've got soon to be 21 and just turned 9. So, that 12-year space, 9-year-old's still a bit handled, and we're not getting any younger. So it's so that's part of that transition that is an unknown.
Right.
That's an unknown. Finances is an unknown because you're so used to paying things or doing things in specific ways, and we are about to, here in a month and a half, flip that completely.
So what's funny is we talked about benefits earlier. My union really negotiated well over the years, so my benefits are really nice. But here's the problem, and it's barely a problem. It's not even on a scale of 1 to 10. It's like a 0.3. But I had to do it today, so I have to pay the city of New Albany to keep my benefits, which is still cheap and great benefits. But they won't take a transfer. They won't take anything but a written check. I haven't written a check in so many years. So I'm looking around for my checkbook. Well, I haven't had one for years and years and years and years. So I had to order them. So I had to use my wife's to pay to the city of New Albany. So I got to send them a check once a month. before the 15th so I can keep my dental, vision, and medical. And then I've got to, for my HSA, I have to physically go to West Banco and deposit the money on the 15th. Again, I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong. This isn't an issue, like a big problem or anything. Yeah, it's just, it's what it is. That was kind of weird for me just to write a check and knowing that I can't just, do it online, because New Albany's not that, I'm not gonna say not that progressive. I don't mean it to sound like in a negative way, but I feel like, that's something they should definitely look into. For me personally, I think the city of New Albany has a lot of great things. Their new city hall and everything, but that one thing that just affects me, having to write a check. Ugh,
Yeah,
it's gross. I feel dirty.
yeah.
I feel dirty inside.
You feel so old.
Feel old. Hey, let me ask you this: what are you going to do for yourself? What's your retirement gift to yourself?
Well, we're going to Jamaica next week, so that was kind of early retirement getaway. But I'll be honest, I'm so looking forward to being able to have the ability to play a little more golf.
Nice.
That is something that I truly enjoy, and unfortunately, because of my schedules, I never get enough opportunity, because if I'm always at work, that downtime, I don't feel like I can use it for that, because I really need to be spending time with family.
All right.
Because
families,
I don't know, they kind of get in the way. But in all honesty, it's something that I'm looking forward to. I've belonged, my wife and I, our family, we've belonged to the same country club for that's probably 15, 16 years now.
Valhalla?
No, Woodhaven, close enough.
Yeah.
Beautiful place, but I'm looking forward to taking advantage of it more than I have, over the years. It's always been great for the pool and food and all that good stuff, and the occasional golf. But unfortunately, it's just mainly been, so now I'm looking forward to, cutting an afternoon a little short and heading and going and not feeling nearly as bad, because maybe I'm not at the house at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
Right. And that's when I'm going to get phone calls to go play golf, right?
Absolutely. We can go, we can go and see, go play Woodhaven. We can have a good time.
Here's why we're such good buddies and we're simpatico. You just set me up for a perfect retirement golf segue. You ready for this one?
Yep.
All right. So last week I went and flew to Colorado for a friend of mine's retirement from the fire service. And big shout out to Matt Backenberg. So Matt is a brother of mine that we met over in Saudi Arabia during Desert Storm. And we reconnected because of the internet. And we've stayed in touch for the past few years. And so he said, hey, man, come on out. So he's retiring as the training officer for it's basically the Space Force Cheyenne Mountain Complex.
Okay.
So I go out there, and I'm going to turn this bitter in a second, by the way. I'll tie it in with the golf, and then I'll go bitter on you, because I think you know where my bitter's coming from, where I'm landing on the bitter. So I go out there. They have one of the nicest ceremonies I've ever seen. So, again, it's at the very base of Cheyenne Mountain Complex. There's a firehouse inside the mountain complex, right? And there's one outside, and that's where we were. I thought they were retiring like a year's worth of people, because they had a stage, they had all these gifts and speakers and food, and there's like 100 people. So I'm going there, and I don't know anybody but Matt. I've never even met his lovely wife. I since have. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, wow. So Matt comes up to me, and I go, hey, man, how many people are retiring today? He goes, oh, just me. His retirement probably went an hour with base commanders, fire chiefs, people in his life, speaking to him, giving him gift after gift. He got plaques. He got a beautiful shadow box. He got flags. I mean, I cannot tell you how many things, letters of appreciation. And it was an amazing, amazing time. And then at the end of it, everybody's kind of mixing and mingling. And this is kind of cool here. Some of us, he got us to be able to go in Cheyenne Mountain Complex and get a tour. That was cool. That was really, really cool. I can't tell you about all the aliens I saw because, you know, you wouldn't believe me anyway.
You're so lucky they didn't keep you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm surprised I got out. So then that night, his wonderful wife threw a big party for him at a distillery, which reminded me of my retirement party. Had one firefighter there, and it was my brother Mike. Was the only firefighter that was invited to my my party. So we did that. Well, the next day, he took us golfing at the Air Force Academy's golf course at the base of the Rockies. It was a beautiful course. I think I shot 198. Not sure. I have to pull out my. It was beautiful, and you know, there was a couple of times throughout all of this that I kept thinking, "Wow, I can just pick up and go." You know, because my other job for the state of Indiana is very flexible. They explained that to me. You know, I can flex time. I can work in hotels, whatever I want. So I was able to go there. I was thinking, man, this is the life, man. I'm getting to play golf. I got to see my buddy. It just couldn't be better. Here's the bitter part. So you're having a luncheon. I assume there's going to be a plaque or some kind of. Guess what I got?
They typically have gifts.
Guess. Go ahead and guess. Guess what I got?
Certificate.
Not a certificate. No certificate. No plaque. No get together. No nothing. Nothing. 20 years I spent with that department. I got zero. Now, my union gives a dollar amount for every retiree. I got that. They came by and they stuck that in my mailbox. Now, I'm not bashing on I swear to God, that's what happened. We tried to meet for lunch, but he said, I was going to stick you in my book. But that's my department. That's how they treat their people. Now, not everybody, because I have been to retirement parties like yours, luncheon on duty for the last day. But you kind of got to be popular, I guess. Now, I know for a fact that, you know, you are friends with some of the admin, and you've never once talked bad about them. You know, no. And we respect that boundary because I have a different view. I feel like most of the admin is horrible. When somebody doesn't get anything for retirement, you know, to me, that's a slap in the face.
No, but hey, I'm not going to disagree with the whole situation with you. And I think you brought up a good point. Yeah, there are, you know, I am friends with an admin there, and the thing is your experience with individuals versus my experience with individuals are always different. And I try to tell people, don't take my word for it. Learn for yourself, you know, with people and everybody, and you're going to have that. But I agree with you 110% that no matter how things shake out, no matter how bitter, no matter any of those things, there's a sense of respect for somebody that has put in the time to be with an organization. You know, I am lucky to be walking away from a place that I love. Love the place. Love 99% of the people. You know what I mean? You're going to have 1% everywhere.
Sure.
And the thing of it is I'm walking away from it. I still have a good taste in my mouth. Nobody's looking at me going, when the hell are you retiring?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not getting that. I'm not at that point. And I've had a lot of great things said to me by people, even from outside my department, about, man, we're really going to miss having you around or doing this and doing that. And so it makes you feel good. And I'm sure you've had that kind of a satisfaction, but it all boils down to what was my experience with a place that I dedicated, you know, my time to. And unfortunately, in your case, you have the right to be bitter.
Oh, yeah. I went out. I was off for a little while because of PTSD, and I was planning on going back, and then I was treated horribly during that PTSD by my own admin. So I decided I'm not going to put myself through it, and I retired.
Sure.
So a lot of my surprise in retirement was just because I wasn't prepared for it. I was ready for that 3-year drop or 2-year drop or 1-year drop, whatever I was going to do. But again, I go back to it, man. It's awesome. You know, my idea of sleeping late is 7:00, right? So I get to sleep. I don't wake up by alarms hardly anymore.
Yeah.
That is just gold in itself. I get to spend at least an hour every morning having coffee with my lovely bride, as opposed to 15 minutes when she was transitioning, getting up, and I was transitioning to get out. So that's a big part of it. Another thing I notice about my retirement is there's times I don't know what day it is. I have no idea what day it is. And I'm like, shit, it's Wednesday? No,
Yeah.
it's Tuesday. Yeah, I'm doing that all the time.
And it's funny you bring up the coffee thing. Just this morning, I was leaving the firehouse, and because it's summertime, we don't have a little one to get to school. So my wife was leaving for work, and we call each other as I'm leaving the firehouse to come here, and she's leaving home to go to her job. And we called, and I said, "Hey, where are you?" And she said, I'm Breckenridge Lane. I said, "Okay." I said, "How about you meet me at the Starbucks? We'll stop and have a coffee before you gotta go in." And we did. So we got to sit there for a good 15, 20 minutes. But it made me think once again, man, it's going to be kind of cool waking up every Saturday and every Sunday, being able to sit on the back patio, do some of these things. And I can promise you that I will value them more now than I would had I been working a Monday through Friday all my life.
Right.
You find value. I'm going to find a lot of value in some things that I'm going to gain through retirement.
Sure.
But there still is that I'm at this end and I'm going to step off. I feel like I'm stepping off feet first, but I guarantee there's going to be some times where it's going to feel head first.
Yes. But it's such a good thing. So as you get closer, let's go back a couple of years, like say 5 years. Let's say 5 years ago, you were thinking about retirement, what it might look like. How has that changed to now when you're just a few, like 5 weeks away from being done?
It's 5 years ago, you know it's coming. Like there's that finish line, right? Where there's a line to gain. It's like getting that 10 yards. There's a line to gain. And in my case, it's 20 years. That's that line to gain. But then there's a finish line where the game's over. And for me, that was at the 20-year mark. So it's I'm getting that yard to gain, and that's 20 years in the pension system. That's where I'm at. And but 5 years ago, dude, I was having as much fun working for the fire department 5 years ago as I am today. And that, I think, is what is really helping me. Yeah, I'm counting shift days. Guys ask me all the time, okay, how many shift days left? Believe me, it's not a count because I'm upset, I'm mad, I can't wait to get out of here. It's not.
Right.
It's honestly, it's more of a sad count for me. I have 9 more shift days in the firehouse, and just 2 shift days ago, my senior fireman, which has only been a fireman with me for a little less than 3 years. He's a 25-year-old kid. He's a 55-year-old man trapped in a 25-year-old kid's body. He's amazing. I brag on him all the time. He's just, if I could clone him, I could change the fire service. But he and I were sitting down out back of the firehouse, and he started asking questions. He said, "All right, Cap," he said, "we've only got 10 or 11 left." I said, "I know, buddy." And he said, "So let's talk about some of the greatest things and some of the worst things." And we sat outside for a while, and he was just a sponge, and we talked, and it felt good, because I've always said, I am a legacy person. I think legacies are awesome, but I value them in a different way. I'm not talking about, I don't want my name on a building, right? Because there's plenty of buildings you ride past right now that has a name on it. Nobody knows who they are. Nobody, you ride past and you're like, "All right, cool. Maybe he put a first brick on it or something." But my legacy thing is more of, I want some of the things that I have shared with people that they found beneficial, whether it's through a training, whether it's just through an interaction or an experience between us, and they found it beneficial to them. I want them to share that with someone else. My legacy was sharing it with them. It becomes theirs when they share it with somebody else, but they'll always remember where it came from. So that right there is something that I feel is legacy worthy. that I hope comes out of that. And I hope I'm able to share some little nuggets, throughout my teachings after retirement, of somebody picking up on and going, man, light bulb pops, and they make a run somewhere and they're like, oh, I remember that. That's legacy stuff, man. That's what you're really out here for. And having the wonderful opportunity to present up at FDIC, three times, and already got that stuff in for next year. So
I'm doing I know I got to the 17th. I'm putting in for my first time.
Good. You should. And I'll tell you, just like everybody told me, if the first time you put in, you get the thanks but no thanks, please do not go away. Don't not do it, because believe me, there's plenty of people that have been told that the worst they're ever going to do is tell me no. I try to live that in my life every day. But it's a wonderful experience. You've been up there. You see the people that are around you, and there are so many people that are sharing such good things. Mm-hmm. And through social media too, or podcasts, there's a lot of people that are sharing some absolutely awesome things. And everybody's got to understand, you don't have to be from, the FDNY or any of these huge places. There are a lot of people out there. There's extremely knowledgeable people in FDNY. Let's face that. You've been up there to the Rock. You've seen all of this stuff. But guess what? There's guys sitting in a firehouse that are full of 15 volunteer firemen, mm-hmm. and they have a passion that can't be found anywhere else on earth. And guess what? Their word is just as good as everybody else's.
Yep.
And so you encourage people, and like I said, once again, it's legacy stuff. It's passing those things on.
That's our responsibility. It's I'll tell you what, hold on one second. I have got a 3-point cat that's trying to get out my 3-point door. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Feel free to take your pants off.
All right. I thought it was really funny that you assumed I even had pants on.
Oh, by the way, I want to brag on my shirt. I got my Fire First Culture and Training for Eric Jones. Check out his Facebook page called Fire First Culture and Training. Make sure to email Eric for me at firefirstculture@gmail.com and tell him all your cool med runs, all the medical runs you make. That's
I heard he's really into those. He's not much on the fire side.
No, not so much fire.
He's really into the medical stuff.
So yeah, I was talking to Eric the other day, and I was talking about water mapping and different nozzles and whatnot. He was so bored, and then I said difficulty breathing, and he's like, and he got all excited. So he's
we just got a brand new ambulance in J-Town, and I was thinking about inviting him over to let it check it out, see for his pupils.
You better prep him before, because he might there might be fluids that come out of him. If he gets just surprised with EMS stuff, because he loves that
massive
shit.
Too big Chevy 55 or 6500. It's big.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be a good fire truck.
Take you back to your Lexington days.
Yeah, oh yeah, damn right. Oh, big. And I'm sporting my Dayton Fire hat from my brother Scott Wallace up at DFD. What the hell were we talking about?
Scott, does he go by anything else?
The Duck.
Oh,
he is the Duck. I am the Eagle. He is the Duck. Another perfect segue. So the Falcon is Jesse Marcotte, who you've met. Going back to what you were talking about, you don't have to be FDNY in all these places. I'm not bashing on them. They're great. But Jesse's from Northville. And I know Jesse, Frank the Tank, Tommy Hughes. I forget Jake's last name, but they're all from a single station firehouse. And it's one of the best fire departments. It's my top 4. My top 4 fire departments is Northville Township, right outside Detroit, because they are so progressive, because they care about their people. Matter of fact, I think it's right now or tomorrow, the FSRI are going to be at Northville filming for some of their training stuff.
Yeah.
So to reinforce what you said, the days of American Heat videos saying the only way to learn is from Boston, Chicago, LA, and New York are gone. There's so much value we all carry that currency of knowledge that we have to spend. When we get out, we have to spend it. We have to pass it on, like you said, with you and your senior man out there talking about it. That's our responsibility.
Yeah, and I mean, we all know people that have gone an entire career, and they may have had 20 years in the fire service, but they weren't 20-year firefighters.
They did 20 first years.
That's right. They were 1-year firefighters that did it 20 times.
Yes.
And they're out there too.
Yes.
But there are far too many people that you see every day that are so passionate about this job. And honestly, that is another chip of why it makes it a little bit hard to walk away or to retire, to ride off into the sunset, because I have been able to teach and work with some great individuals that have that passion. And I guess I'm a little afraid. I know there's a next guy on the captain's list to be promoted that's going to fill the role that I'm walking out of. And I see the way that my crew is streamlined, and I've got phenomenal sergeant and fireman. It's great. And I get nervous that somebody's going to come in and ruin it. And, you do, because I see how those guys want to come to work.
Right.
And that's the one thing I always told them. I want you to want to come to work. I want you to enjoy what you're doing, because guess what? You're going to be a lot more productive and everything if you're enjoying it. So we've been able to build that over numerous years. The last thing I want to see is those guys lose that drive to want to be there. I don't feel that's going to happen.
Right.
But it's always in the back of your mind.
And you got to think about the other one as well. What if somebody comes in and makes it better because of you, standing on the shoulders of giants, right?
I can only hope.
Oh, yeah.
I can only hope. It would be awesome. I had a short conversation with the gentleman that's on the captain's list, and I said, hey, for some reason you do, get brought down here to my spot and not moved somewhere else, and people get moved around. But if they bring you down to my spot, just do me one favor. Don't fuck with these guys. So I said, I can promise you, man, you're going to come in and you're going to make your mark, and I want you to. I said, but if you allow these guys to do their job, they're going to make you look amazing. And there's no truer words that can come out of my mouth in regards to those guys. Not because my guys are perfect. Hey, we all falter, we all make mistakes. But there's one thing that I've always tried to push since day one having them, is I told them, guys, we will strive to be the crew. I don't want to be that crew. There's a big difference between those two words.
I like that.
But yeah, well, when you pull up, you want people to know that work's about to get done. And that's the crew. Somebody's cleaning up after you all the time, that's that crew. So that's the big difference. I always told them, strive to be the crew. Strive to be what everybody else, should want to be.
Right.
So, and
always try to be B crew, right? Always try to be B crew.
Second to none. We're second platoon, second to none. So.
I got something for you. Now, I try to prep my guests.
Okay.
With questions I was going to ask, but I didn't prep you because, fuck it, I didn't want to. I mean, this is how it is. So now we're going to go back and forth. We each have to name 3 things. I'll go first, and then you'll go. 3 things that you would tell. You go back in time, and there's Mike Wallingford, day 1, getting ready to leave for his very first day at the academy. Okay. I'll be talking to Jake. You'll be talking to Mike. Here's the first thing I'm going to tell Jake. I travel back in time, and I'll say something first about, hey, don't worry, your penis gets way bigger. But I will also say, start saving every dollar you can for retirement. That's my first one. Save every dollar you can, invest it somehow, some way, 457 pension, 401k, whatever. That's my first one. What do you think your first one's going to be?
My first one is, you should have prepped me. But honestly, my first thing that I would tell myself when I'm starting is keep your mouth shut. Don't act like you know anything, and learn even if you do.
I like that. That's a good one. That might have been one of mine, but now I can't use it because you used it.
Okay.
So I like it. The second thing I would go back and say is starting as soon as possible, network. Go to conferences, go to fire schools, learn everything about your craft, and be humble about it. Don't treat it like it's a currency that you have and nobody else can have. But learn, network, and share that stuff. That would be my second one.
Don't value the opinions or comments of individuals you wouldn't go to for advice.
Boom. That's a mic drop. That's a mic drop. The fire service can be brutal. I've been on part of the part that's brutal where, we can make some people feel uncomfortable for 24, 48 hours if we want to. You're exactly right. I've definitely worked with people that were captains that were, if you wanted to learn how to fight fire in 1998, I know a captain right now you can go to in 2024. But anything after that year, never learn. It goes back to what you said, not 20 years of experience. You got 1 year experience, 20 times in a row.
20 times.
So the third one, that's going to be a tough one for me. And I know I don't think you've got one locked and loaded. So let me see if I got it. I got one. Ready? And remember, you can't use mine. Do everything you can to take care of yourself, in parentheses, wear your SCBA during overhaul, no matter what. So cancer prevention, I would definitely tell, of course, I'm coming with the benefit of that from the future, but it's my future, my game. I play it however the fuck I want.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother. What else you got?
My last one is enjoy the experience. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in bullshit.
I like that. Can I add a fourth?
Yeah. So we can go all day on this shit.
Okay. Write down every run you make. Make journals. I worked with a guy, Captain Wiseman, fantastic firefighter, wonderful human being. And I remember he wrote down, he had his own logbook. And I thought, how cool would that be to be able to flip through a logbook and see some of the runs you made, and reflect on them. So that's my fourth one. You can have a fourth one if you want.
Learn from your experiences, both good and bad.
Man, you're dropping truth bombs, brother.
Yeah.
So many people want to dismiss their failures, and their mistakes, when in fact, I think all of success is built upon those. I don't know anybody that has started out in anything and 100% every time. So yeah, you're right. It's
I think we should
crazy.
take all these. We should take all of these and have them put on coffee mugs for Ashley.
Or you and I write a book about aphorisms for the fire service, and we'll make 365, and it will be directed towards rookies. So the first day you start collecting a paycheck or start working at a volunteer department, you got to read one of these every day. And at the end of the year, you've had a ton of information from a big-eared guy from Kentucky and a very handsome, sexy man from Kentucky. I'll let you guess which one it is. For those who don't know. So what's next after Jamaica? You're just going to go to work and that's it? It's summer, man.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch more vacation time off, a few more trips here and there, a couple concerts, and go, see some live music.
Okay. What we listen to?
That's kind of my jam. The Steel Woods are playing in Lexington on July 4th. This will be their kind of country rock. They're really good. This is going to be their final year touring. They've decided to take other ventures. But yeah, they're playing July 4th in Lexington. So I'm going to go down to the Borough in Lexington and see them. I love
Lexington.
Yeah. And then Marcus King coming in October. Jelly Rolls coming in October.
Get on with it.
Yeah, and I'm live music. I love live music, especially small venue live music.
I could tolerate a little bit of it. I got tinnitus, and I don't like being around crowds that are kind of crazy. With that said, Remember, the official band or the unofficial official band of 3-Point Firefighter is the Hollering Crows. One of the best local bluegrass bands around here.
They played a great venue one night. Well, it was your retirement party.
Yes, yes.
So, they were very good.
Yeah, I love them, and they are. We're trying to go out and do some more things like that. Trying to get out of my comfort zone a little bit. Tonight, I don't know if I already said this. Did I tell you this? I'm going to see Daniel Tosh.
Daniel Tosh.
Yeah.
I pay attention to what you say.
I don't pay attention to what you say. I don't, and it's not because of you. It's just because I'm old. I'm just old, and I got a soft brain.
That's why I'm retiring early.
Retire early. That's right. That's right. I wasn't sure what retirement was going to look like, but I got to tell you, it's when people ask me, I always tell them it's like nothing I could. I had expectations, but it far exceeded every single expectation I had being retired. Now that I don't just sit around, right? I'm doing my thing. Some days I work. Example, yesterday I was down here in my office for I think 7.5 hours working straight. But when you do what you want to do, it's a whole different ball game than doing what you kind of have to do. If I'd gone back in time a little bit, I don't know that I would have been a training officer for as long as I was, because I think there's a shelf life on that. And if I had to guess, the shelf life for a training officer is going to be about 6 years. And I know it seems like a weird number, arbitrary, Jakey, but in a smaller department, you've got very few choices. You can demote yourself or maybe try to go move up or stay where you are.
Yeah.
And I contemplated all three, but I do believe at some point your training officer for smaller departments probably should think about passing on the torch after 5 or 6 years.
I thought the same thing for numerous years. There was opportunities for, battalion chief and things like that, but I thought about it. I really, really did. And when you have people kind of supporting you and saying, hey, I think you'd be great, blah, 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 those things are awesome. But at the end of the day, I was like, I feel like I'm more beneficial on the company. I feel like I love being on the company. It was something about having this, I don't want to say stand on the sidelines, but in all reality, stand on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And not be able to go and do. And it was tough. So
for me, the transition became right when I was hitting that point to where I felt like everything I was doing is academic, because I wasn't allowed to ride the trucks as a training officer, and I wasn't allowed to get overtime on the trucks as a training officer. So I kept saying at some point, everything I teach you is somewhat academic, right? Because it's been forever. So, but around that same time, I started with the ISFSI, teaching around the country, live burns and everything. And
you're in there doing it.
I was doing it to that degree. So I felt like I was way less academic, but still, I still keep coming back to that. I feel like a training officer, a person like me, I'm not talking about like a real battalion chief of training that has like a cadre. I'm talking about the one guy in the department that's a standalone training officer. And I really, I wish I had the strength to go back and just say, you know what, I'm just going to go back on the truck. But you get in the back of your head, you're like, well, first you love, I love being an instructor, but you think, if I could just reach one person, two persons, blah, 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 and that kind of keeps you going. So
it does.
Yeah. But everything works out the way I think it's supposed to be. I'd go back in time and tell myself to watch my first wife, watch her real careful, I'm telling you, and then look up a beautiful lady named Ashley, and then make a couple of tough decisions. Because I tell you, if I could squeeze a few more years, I'd have been with my lovely bride Ashley now. And can you imagine her 20 years ago? She's super freaking hot now.
I get it. Every time she comes by, I see it. Every time we get together, I see it. So
yeah, I watch her on my GPS. I see her at your house, and she's always saying she's going shopping. I don't know what's up with that.
Her and Blair are really close. They, she's coming over to see Blair.
Yeah. Well, that's funny because Blair's over here talking to me about where Ashley. I feel like you're not telling me everything.
We'll figure it out one day.
All right, brother. Well, listen, I'm gonna let you go. Hopefully, I apologize. I won't be able to go to your last day. I will be en route to Florida. I plan that before your retirement. I will come to your firehouse though, probably a day or two before, because I want to celebrate your legacy. I want to celebrate my good friend and see you in your element, brother. That's what I really want to do. So I will definitely see you there.
Well, definitely call and make sure, because, like I said, I got a lot of vacation time between now and then. I don't want you to show up and there be somebody else there. So
I'll reach out to you. And then maybe next Wednesday we can get together and do a little trivia.
Well, we'd have to.
Oh, that's right. You're doing Jamaica.
From Jamaica.
Yeah, I keep forgetting. I looked at my spam folder. I didn't get anything. All right, brother. I love you, buddy. Thank you for everything you've done for the fire service and your fire department. And thanks for being on 3-Point Firefighter again. Appreciate it, man. It's awesome. Awesome opportunity. Always. Love you, buddy. See you, buddy. Today's podcast was sponsored by Fire Facilities, industry-leading designers and manufacturers of realistic, built-to-last training structures for more than 30 years. Make your training count. Visit firefacilities.com for more information.